Castrovalva, Peter Davison's very first story, the first serial of season 19 of Doctor Who, first broadcast in 4 parts from the 4th to the 12th of January 1982. Now here Peter Davison had some big shoes to fill. I mean, he's coming off not only Doctor Who's longest reigning continuous actor, Tom Baker, but also one of their most popular. So you could argue he had some big shoes to fill. Castrovalva was his first attempt at doing so, and honestly, for a first story, I think it's pretty good. The Doctor, now played by actor Peter Davison, has of course just regenerated, and what a shock, his regeneration is taking a long time and has seemingly gone wrong. However, in trying to get him back to the TARDIS, Adric, played by Matthew Waterhouse, is seemingly captured once again by the Master, played by Anthony Ainley. The Doctor's new companions, Nyssa and Tegan, get him back to the TARDIS with seemingly a version of Adric who seems a little off, but they can't work out why until they work out he's been captured and the like, and they have to try and get the Doctor better. The Doctor says the way to do this is via the Zero Room, an area where he can kind of meditate and kind of grasp things and get his mind all back together. However, the Master seemingly has a plan to send them kind of deep into Event 1, the kind of place where there was a lot of hydrogen, i.e. the Big Bang. However, the Doctor and his companions manage to escape this by jettisoning some of the rooms of the TARDIS, which unfortunately includes the Zero Room. So, looking up in the TARDIS databanks, they manage to find a place where the Doctor may be able to rest, the city of Castrovalva on the planet of Andromeda. So they have to find a way to get there, but then discover that Castrovalva may not be entirely as it seems. Now, I have been told by Doctor Who fans alike that Castrovalva is ideally best watched in tandem with the 2 previous stories of Doctor Who, that being The Keeper of Traken and Logopolis. Now, if you're watching this via my classic Doctor Who playlist, then yeah, this is going to be after those 2 stories. However, in terms of me, I've done this slightly non-linearly. I watched Logopolis first because that was the one I sought out, Tom Baker's Regeneration episode. Then I'm watching Castrovalva, i.e. the one I'm reviewing right now, and I've also recently managed to procure The Keeper of Traken, so I'll upload a video when that comes. So time is non-linear, wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey, you get the idea. Now, while inside Castrovalva, it is becoming evident that this is some type of trap, as whenever they go down the stairs, they come to the square, they go out the square through the front door, but then somehow end up back at the top of the stairs, and it keeps looping. So it's like, no, we're stuck in a time trap, which is actually a rather nice touch. And they also meet a load of characters along the way, and not all of them are quite as they seem. There's a guy named Murgrave, a guy named Shardovan, who's wearing black while everyone else is wearing white, played by Derek Waring, and you've also got the Portreeve, who is kind of the head physician, the head doctor, and he says he knows he's the one who ultimately knows what's going on. However, when the Doctor tries to piece together what exactly is wrong, it's actually quite clever how he does it. Like he asks Murgrave, like, okay, where is your pharmacy? And he draws up a map. It's like, okay, now where is your pharmacy? It's like, well, it's over here, over here, over here, and over here. It's like, you got 4 pharmacies. Like, no, I only have 1. It's like, hold on a sec. So, where is your... Yeah, you're right, that doesn't make any sense. Which is actually quite a clever way of how they managed to figure it out. I also do like with this story how they focus a bit more on Nyssa and Tegan, giving them a bit more to do. Now, I can kind of understand why they did this. I mean, this is Adric's 6th story. I mean, he joined Doctor Who, I think, in about Warrior's Gate, there or thereabouts. And this is actually his 6th story aboard the TARDIS, whereas for Tegan it's only her 2nd story, and for Nyssa it's only her 3rd. So Adric mostly gets kind of pushed out of this story quite a bit. I mean, he's captured by the Master, and Castrovalva is ultimately created because of Adric's mathematical mind. So he is actually a large part of this story, but then he kind of gets pushed to the back, and we don't see a lot of him, which I think is a good choice because with it being his sixth story, whereas it's still being early days for Nissa and Tegan, it gives them a bit more chance to come to the forefront. For example, Tegan has a lot of time trying to pilot the TARDIS, or at least trying to figure out how to pilot it and put her stewardess skills to use in order to get them to somewhere safe or to Castrovalva. This is also a rather important story as this is when Doctor Who moved from once every week to twice weekly. And so, yeah, it's Peter Davison's first story, and you're getting a bit more Doctor Who every week. I mean, it was apparently that you would only get it for something like 3 weeks a year now instead of the usual 6. But yeah, you know what? That works. I mean, you're getting a little less of Doctor Who long term, but you're getting more of it now. So yeah, I think that kind of works. I also do like the kind of misdirection that they give us with each of them. I mean, ultimately it's revealed that the Portreeve is the master, and Castrovalva was his ultimate plan and everything. So, and apparently the Portreeve was portrayed by Anthony Ainley. However, unlike something like the Keeper of Traken, I didn't actually recognise which I've seen clips of it at the moment, and I've seen kind of him underneath, and he's supposed to look like Anthony Ainley, just kind of grey hair and the like. But I'll admit I didn't actually recognise the Portreeve as Anthony Ainley under the kind of white hair, under all of it, under the disguise, and I was just like, oh, it's him. The character who I actually thought was going to be the Master was the character of Shadavan, played by Derek Waring. I thought, okay, maybe this is just an elaborate disguise of the Master, because he's shown throughout the episode of whenever somebody tries to raise a decision, he seems decidedly against it and decidedly wants to take charge. Which I thought, oh yeah, he's got to be the Master under all that. But then, when it's actually revealed that Portreeve was the Master and Shadavan isn't, I was actually rather shocked at that. I thought, oh, okay, I was wrong. So, yeah. I also do like some of the small touches they give in order to give Castrovalva that confusing edge. Like, at one point when the Doctor, Nissa and Tegan are running down the stairs, and he asks all the maids in the main court, like, what's the quickest way out of this place? And then they just point in every direction. Like, yes, well, there's democracy for you. I personally thought that was funny. And you know what? For a first story, I think Castrovalva does its job. It's a great story for Peter Davison's first, and he does a lot very well. I also do like seeing how he came up with the celery. If he eats it at dinner and then attaches a stick to his lapel later. Oh, I love that. So, Castrovalva. I think a pretty good story, and I invite you to check it out if you haven't. So, as I said, I've watched Logopolis, I've watched Castrovalva now, I've also got Keeper of Traken, and I've got 2 more stories on the way for you. But, yeah. Wibbly wobbly timey-wimey, you may have already watched the Keeper of Traken review, but if not, well, I'll see you there. Anyway, until next time, see ya.